Not that anybody's going to want to listen to this shit show.
I wouldn't.
Wah, wah.
To be brutally honest, I don't. I may never have actually heard our podcast. Like,
Well,
like
that-
it comes up in my
Why
feed.
would you not listen to your own fucking podcast?
Yeah, like I was there
You know
the first
everything,
time.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're not going to learn anything.
At some point,
You might actually get dumber.
At some point, I probably should, just so that
You know what we
I
sound
have
like?
an idea of how we sound and stuff.
I know I did once. Like I
And then you
listened, like
regretted it
way,
immediately?
No, I mean like way back when we first started, I had it just playing, and I probably let it just play in the background the whole way through
Yeah.
because I, wanted to hear what we sounded like and shit.
Yeah.
But that's probably the extent of my listening to our podcast.
Yeah. What is my wife doing up there?
Beating Morse code.
Apparently.
She's doing Morse
Hey, Matt.
yeah. So, been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what do you watch? You must be binge watching a whole bunch of stuff since I last saw you.
Oh my God. What have I watched?
Probably finished Stranger Things. by
Yeah,
now.
I watched Stranger Things. I watched Mind Hunters. That was
Mhm.
really good. I watched.
We started it. We didn't really finish it. We got like 2 episodes, and we'll probably go back to it.
What else did I watch? I watched
The show with the worst name ever.
what?
Mind Hunters.
Oh yeah. Oh, Blacklist. I'm watching right now.
Oh, really?
That's pretty good.
We watched the first season, I want to say, and then it kind of just got rambly, I found. But
What else? I saw an amazingly horrible movie called The Babysitter, I think it was. It was really good.
Was that a really good?
Yeah, well, it was horrible, but
So bad that it was good. I watched Wonder Woman on a plane.
is that different than Wonder Woman normally?
No. I watched Wonder Woman on
While
a plane,
on a
plane. During one of my bouts of not sleeping on the plane.
Mhm.
And I've been binge watching the latest season of Supernatural. That's
Oh,
on
okay.
Netflix. The one that's on Netflix.
The one that's on Netflix, yeah.
Which is Canadian Netflix, and we're like a year behind American Netflix as far as Supernatural. So it's last season Supernatural, the one with Mom returning.
Yeah.
And then I started. I binged watched Stranger Things the day before I left.
Oh.
Brazil.
Just like watch it all.
But June and I just sat down and watched the whole thing over a weekend,
Wow.
and it was great because we never do that, and
Mhm.
it was the first time June got so into it that she actually binged watched a show, which
Oh, that's great.
never fucking happens ever. So yeah, that's pretty much been the extent of what I've been doing. I've been so fucking busy that not as much noodling as I'd like. We had people on the stream, and now we do not.
I just reset chatty. They won't show up
Oh.
until they type something.
I see.
Or they could have just left.
Oh, they could have left because
I would.
Yeah. Well, you do. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the pre-show. Jason, as you can see, is late.
No, they can't see.
Oh, right. Jason, as you can hear, is late. He'll be
Yeah, you haven't heard a beer opening or
or
anything.
chugging of rum, anything along those lines. He'll be here probably like 3 seconds before the bell. He's said he had to work late, or he may be 3 seconds after the bell. Ooh,
Baron
nervous.
Von Echo just left. Sudabite just left.
Yeah, totally.
Everybody just left.
Yep, totally. Topic this evening. What are we going to talk about? Gee, we're doing a 3-man show. We haven't done one of those in a while.
Oh my God.
Am I good?
So, Battle Reporter,
Yes.
I don't know if you know this,
They're
is
trying to do a ranking system.
building their ranking system.
Mm-hmm.
I am apparently the 11th best player in Canada currently.
I think that this is a test. I think this is he just.
I
entered
really
some-
hope so.
I'm pretty sure he just entered a bunch of shit names and like.
I believe this is exactly Ottawa. Yeah, I think he's only pulling Ottawa data
So
because
I've only got a 1 tournament, so I'm not even on the list.
you're not even on the list.
Oh,
So far, it's number 1, Danny Daigle.
a
A lot of people are going to argue about that. Number 2, Alad. Alad, you're in number 2.
Good.
Paul Campbell's in number 3. Ryan Menzies in 4. Marc Andre is in 5.
Marc Andre hasn't even been to a tournament in like a year, has he?
I think he was.
Oh, so he must be pulling data from like the last tournament.
No. I think he was in the tournament that happened on War Machine Weekend.
Oh, okay. Well, that would be one tournament.
Yeah.
So he's probably
Well,
pulling
that's
data
what I mean. Like, I think
Oh,
he's
so
literally pulling data from Ottawa.
from Ottawa from the last tournament in Ottawa.
Well, no, probably from the last 2 or 3.
You know what it
because
could be?
I wasn't in the last.
It could be that we're the only tournament that he's got data on since he's implemented the
No,
system.
so what I'm sure he's doing is scraping from Best Coast pairings.
Okay.
Because we as a meta use Best Coast pairings for every single tournament. So it's a really good way for him to get good data.
Alid, that is, see, only Marc-Andre cannot show up to a tournament and still
take fifth. Yeah. Oh God, this is ancient data because there's Francesco.
Oh, I see. Then it's dummy data. It's just garbage. It should be written in Roman.
David Beauchamp is in 7. Matt McWaters is in 8. Francesco Zapp is in 9. Justin Gonnet is in 10, and I'm at 11.
Yeah, then it's
Marc Antoine's on here.
Yeah. So yeah, there's some real old data in there.
There's some real old data.
Real old data.
5. I'm 5 better than Bubba, who's at 16th.
Well, that makes sense.
Hey, Matt's in it twice.
I think you should.
Awesome.
I think that part of the system should be that if you play Kador or Crix, you automatically get bumped down in the standings.
I got to point that out. Matt is 8th and 18th at the same time.
I think that it's just crap data is what's happening there.
Well, if I'm in it, it's definitely crap data.
Yeah.
I think Matt's the only person who shows up twice. Oh, it's because one is Matt McWaters and one is Matthew McWaters.
Oh,
that's what's happened.
Fraser is like Fraser heard the call and showed up to defend
First
himself.
crack and is using old data. Yeah, I could tell there's old data because Marc-Andre's in it and he has just started playing games again. I don't know whether he took a vacation from work to play games.
Marc-Andre?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because like literally every day this week.
I'm jealous.
He was at Out of the Box on the second on Tuesday.
Well, I wanted to. So he said he put out the call to play on Tuesday. Like he was like, anybody want to come play games with me during the day? And I was supposed to have the day off, and I was gonna go. I was just gonna I was excited too. I was literally just gonna go and let him beat up on me for
play
hours.
all day.
But then my wife decided to stay home from work.
And I kicked that in the nuts.
Yeah. So I'm going to, or no, maybe it was Monday. Maybe that was Monday that he was just going to play all day. Anyway, hopefully that continues because I can do that. I could go train. Like I see the Rocky sequence happening where he makes me punch meat for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Call in and justify?
Oh, he's probably wants to Skype in and justify.
And justify
his
himself.
Shit data.
Justify his shit data.
You're okay. You're okay, Fraser. You don't need to justify yourself. But hey, if we can always accommodate a Fraser on the cast.
Absolutely. We'd actually have to turn on Skype, though.
Yeah, let's not do that. Let's try to do our 3-man thing. We haven't done a 3-man.
I like George explains how list building works in Company of Iron. Well, see, I put a bunch of guys in it, and then it was a list.
Yeah, but there's more to it. It's a different. Like some people have not even played Company of Iron nor have read the rules. So that remember, this is going to be a little primer for how you how you go about deciding what to take.
So far, my answer is put 25 points worth of models in it and then lose repeatedly. So far, that's my Company of Iron experience.
Oh, I haven't even made a list yet. I've been thinking like pirates with what's her name? What are they called? Press gangers.
Oh yeah, you can't recur. It'll just get you an extra card.
So not press gangers then. Maybe actually take actually take the other ones, the actual pirate dudes.
Oh, like the. I wanted to say the Etrimedes guys, but
the ones that get Mr. Walls is their.
I don't know who those pirates are. Like
There's
what their name is.
I can't remember.
Like
the name.
obviously they're pirates.
They're just like they're the sea dogs.
Sea dogs. Okay.
So maybe I take sea dogs and.
Well, you don't have to take a unit. You could do all solos. And if
I understand that.
And if you're in Mercs, you have all the solos in the world.
I've also heard that River Raiders are really good.
Oh, I can see that.
If you take Sea Dogs, River Raiders, and you can't take characters, right? You can't take.
Oh, you
character
can
units?
take characters. Yeah.
I wonder if you can take the cannon, the slam cannon.
Nope. It's got a large base in it.
Ah, right. So
Now,
it's man
that
size.
being said, no. That being said, the new No Quarter that's about to come out is supposed to have rules for unmounted dragoons and
cool.
and siege weapons. So not
Ooh.
siege weapons, but light artillery.
Oh, okay.
So you might be able to take the
Take a
cannon
li-
after
take a-
that comes
take a-
out.
That would be pretty sweet. So if you take the Sea Dogs, can you take the attachments, or do they become?
What do you mean?
can you
like
take Mr.
UAs
Walls?
and stuff?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
So you take Sea Dogs with Mr. Walls and what's her name? Not Bosun Grogspar, the other
Hawk.
Hawk, so that everybody gets 3 dice, which is
Mhm.
pretty sweet. And then they've got pretty good guns. They've got okay guns. They're not great guns, but they've got okay guns. And then you take like some other fun stuff in there. And apparently the Goblin River Raiders are pretty good because
Yep.
they all have hand weapons.
Yep.
And so they'll get 3 dice as well.
Oh,
And
they have the gun the hand weapon or whatever.
Well, yeah,
like
apparently
it's
they
by name.
But they allowed it because it's called poisoned hand weapon, and she gives a boost to all hand weapons. And apparently, according to the ruling from the gods above, from the PP gods above, that counts as a hand weapon.
Okay.
So that sounds pretty.
So
cool.
a poisoned hand weapon is of type hand weapon.
Yeah.
It's just a poison version of
I'd
it.
probably do that. That'd be fun. Or I just take Cephalix and drudge it up.
Yeah. As Sudabite is saying, Banes with COA with the UA, they can't recur, but it does card cycle.
Yeah, which is nice. So
Which is really good because every card you draw is a boost.
Yeah.
So, well, not necessarily a boost. Sometimes it's a reroll. Sometimes it's effectively a tough check.
the problem with doing something like press gangers is that you'd also need to have living models to get that to work.
The opponent have living
the
models.
opponent has to have
Most
living
of the time, you're going to find that people have living models because the factions that won't have living probably are Crix and Convergence.
Is Alexia and the Risen extremely overpowered?
No, they don't work. Well, they work, but they don't really work.
Why? She still would get souls.
Yeah, but you can't build anything with them.
It doesn't matter because she could use the souls to do 6 billion damage.
That would probably work. How many points is she?
It's not that crazy
Oh,
expensive.
is she a large base?
No.
Isn't she on a horse, or is that
No,
Alexia
that's
2?
Alexia 2.
Oh, okay.
So
Alexia 1 might work.
Alexia 1 sounds pretty like should be pretty good.
That sounds like a Jason. With 6 minutes to spare.
Oh, look at him go. He's running. And he's got beer, which is good.
There's some beer upstairs if you guys want it. so.
I am actually not drinking.
You're-
I'm off all drinks. I might
You've
be-
still got 4 keys down there to go through.
Yeah.
And these two.
Are emergency fund.
Emergency beer.
Yeah.
So what at Ninja Division fell apart?
Just some last minute.
Can't talk about it.
artwork
Oh no,
for
like we could totally make
undisclosed
fun.
things.
We can totally make fun of him about his undisclosed projects just like totally flaking out. You don't really need those since we don't have a guest.
I need to check.
Oh, that's
your level.
true.
I
Yeah.
need to check your
Like-
level.
Check levels.
Talk away.
Tuck away.
You're
Yeah,
talking
sound
good.
Sound good.
Super talky good.
Super
Super
tacky.
tucky good. All the
It's
stuff.
almost like we've done this before.
Almost.
The worst part is
I don't
if
remember
not
when.
this
though.
weekend, then early next week, I'm going to probably pull 90% of the stuff out of this room.
You bastard.
Well, I want to get I want to get this wall painted for the green screen.
Oh, cool.
And that way we don't have to worry. And there's a lot of crap in this room that just sort of got shoved in here as we've been moving stuff in that I want to pull out, and then so that we can have more sort of stage presence. So that'll be nice.
fun conversation today.
Mm-hmm.
Alexia 1 can still replace normal grunts with warriors, but Stir the Dead just cycles a bunch of cards. That's still pretty cool, because she could just sit there and blow souls to cycle cards. Like, I'll cycle a card, I'll cycle a card, I'll
Yeah.
cycle a card.
Yeah, anything that would normally generate a model.
I'm just saying that
Cycles a
that's-
card in.
I think I need to try Alexia 1. She sounds pretty badass.
Yeah.
Not that I'm not going to probably get around to playing too many rounds of Company of Iron right now.
It's really quick. We could probably our first round of Company of Iron will take as long as a normal War Machine game.
Mm-hmm.
But once you've got a handle on it, a standard game of Company of Iron is about 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
It's pretty much like the opposite of sex.
Once you got a handle on it, time goes right down. You can get in and out before she notices.
I thought I was saying the opposite. Like the first time you do it, the first
nothing.
Bam,
Just bam.
Yeah, you're done. And then the more you do it, the more you play.
The more you play, the better it gets.
The better it gets.
It's like War Machine. The more you play, the better it gets.
So we had a fun conversation today that actually you might find interesting. So apparently the world's kayaking competition is happening right now.
Oh.
And they didn't want to pay to have it streamed properly.
Oh.
And they couldn't afford
to pay.
People they tried to get a big Canadian streaming company to come in and do it.
Yeah.
I mean a real sports streaming company to come in and do it. And apparently they decided to pocket the money for themselves and are basically setting up like 2 cameras with shit commentators and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they took all the sponsorship money. So at Jackson right now, or at a company that I will not name, right, it's too late. We're talking about hijacking the stream.
Oh, really?
So we've got like professional commentators bring in 2 professional kayak whitewater commentators, the guys that normally do it that didn't get the contract this year.
Yeah.
Bring them in, pay them, hijack the stream, and have us do our own commentating.
That's not hard.
No, and they were like
it's so easy.
They blew their minds. James is like, we can do that, and I'm like,
oh yeah,
oh yeah. Like it's not even it's actually way easier. And he's like, well, then we'd have to send somebody on location. I'm like, hell
no, we use their feed.
Yeah, we just grab their feed and steal it. And I'm like, and we make a big deal out of it being like pirate break-in radio and shit. It'd be hilarious.
That you could do the fuzz.
Jason's shaking his head.
You do like the fuzz
totally
in,
illegal,
and then the tapping on the mic. Is this on?
Yeah,
is this
totally.
on?
That's
Have
exactly
we gotten into the
thinking.
feed?
Jason just needed his beer. He just shaking off a day of work.
Stressed.
All those giant heads can get to you.
all that anime style drawing. The big eyes.
They look into your soul.
Before I left, I got a request from Aggie and Justin for something undisclosed that sounds pretty funny. So keep an eye out for that in another week or two.
All right.
Which one? Can you say it without saying it? Because Aggie has told me most of them.
No, I better
we spent
not.
16 hours doing it.
I better not.
Oh, okay.
I told Jay.
We got just about 2 minutes, by the way.
I told George I didn't tell you. I've literally spent the entire day, like half since
He's been
11
channeling
o'clock
Mr.
today.
Malorian.
11 o'clock today. I've been watching Supernatural and memeing. So I've built up about like 30 kayaking memes that are ready to go for the Jackson.
Good work when you
now
can
that
get
I'm now that I'm the official run the admin for the Jackson Facebook page. They're getting memed to death.
Jesus Christ.
It's awesome. Turns out I'm not bad at memeing because like the first 4 I sent out, I immediately started getting requests from all the other divisions to get stuff for their feeds, which is awesome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are 2 minutes out. Jason, you have 2 minutes to tell us what you're binge watching.
I've been watching movies more than anything.
Ooh,
I watched Logan Lucky today.
How was it?
Oh, it was really good.
Yeah.
You should watch Babysitter if you haven't watched it.
I watched it. Really good.
I
enjoyed that.
I thoroughly enjoed that.
Yeah.
It wasn't good, but
no,
but
it was
but it was really
an entertaining
enjoyable.
hour and a half. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really enjoyable.
Well, I just watched
Supernatural. I'm all caught up with Supernatural.
I'm not. I
depressing.
I have
I hate
last season.
Catching up with.
Well, with Supernatural, it's a bad one to catch up with because you
Yeah.
know, like they always leave you on a cliffhanger.
Yep.
And generally, somebody important dies right at the end. And it's comfort food for.
Yeah.
What was I watching the other day that was like just a bad Supernatural? Oh, I watched a little bit of Winona Earp, but it's just kind of like girls do Supernatural, which is. I mean, I'm not complaining about females in science fiction. I'm just saying it's just like a blatant kind of ripoff.
Don't they shoot it in the same place? Like it's a Canadian
I'm pretty
content,
sure
so.
it's shot in it's probably shot by the same damn company.
CanCon.
Yeah.
And then the other one that I was watching that was Stan versus Evil, which is
that's
it's
an awesome.
pretty much just
Yeah.
another super, but with a
You've seen
grouchy
Tucker and
old
Dale
man.
versus Evil,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Oh my
Tucker
God.
and Dale versus Evil.
That was
amazing.
brilliant.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's do this.
All
thing.
right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go.
Recording live from the E. Haley Memorial Studios, straight out of Almont, Ontario, it's time for This Death Clock Has 60 Minutes, your one and only weekly Warmahordes news broadcast. It's 8 p.m. Wednesday night, the beers are cold, the news is fresh, and the death clock starts now.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. It's been
Forever?
two week hiatus.
I think it's only 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
hiatus.
Feels like a month.
I was in the Amazon,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not actually lying. I was actually
Yeah.
in the Amazon jungle rainforest. I've rained only 3 of the 10 days we were there.
That's not a very good rainforest.
Well, it is the dry season.
It's the dry season.
It's the dry season.
The
in a
dry
wet
season
place.
where it just rained all
Yeah.
day for 3 days.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
yeah, and while I was gone, you guys took a little breather, a little hiatus.
Yep.
yeah.
I drove 16 hours, had 2 meals, and drove 16 hours back.
Yeah, because you got.
It turns out they also had a pop-up store for Privateer Press near where I got food, so that was fun.
That's good because I heard you didn't spend much time on the floor at War Machine Weekend.
No, I technically went to War Machine Weekend, but I have yet to experience War Machine Weekend. I went
I heard
down-
War Machine Weekend experienced you though.
Oh yes. Well, at least their
The
hotel
hotel
did.
room did.
The hotel
Yeah,
did.
I got swifty over a large portion of that bathroom.
Well, we'll talk about that a little bit more because we're going to hear what little bit of War Machine Weekend experience you had in just a moment.
Indeed.
But before we get started, I got to introduce everybody that's on the cast because that's what we do. If you're new to showing up to this rigmarole, we know nothing. We claim to know nothing. Normally, we bring on guests that are smarter than us to tell us things, but every once in a while, when we've got a lot to talk about, we just have the 3 of us. 3
Yeah.
buddies in a room.
Mhm.
Yeah, the three
Arguing-
amigos.
Arguing about the war
Olé.
machines.
Ooh,
What was it?
Yeah.
do we get to argue about War Machine?
Well, of course. Well, you're
That's going to be fun.
I'm not going to argue. You will.
Oh, but I wanted to argue.
Shut up, George. Stop arguing with me.
But I.
So let me introduce everybody. First off, the Ringo to my George, the one and only Jason
Hi.
Maelstrom,
Hi.
as he is known on the
He plays the drums.
thingamabob. And of course, the George to my Ringo, George.
It's amazing the way that works out.
Semi-auto magic, or XPG semi-auto magic. Is that what we're calling it now?
I think so.
We should just put a big XPG.
Yeah.
That should be your new
Because
handle.
then I can give it to you.
Yeah, there you go. XPG going to give it to you?
No, X is going to give it
Oh,
to you.
X is going to give it to you. And I am Mift Gorax on the Discord and on the forums, also known as Will Richardson, your moderator.
You're the moderate moderator?
The moderate moderator. So we have a few announcements to go through before we get started tonight, and we'll talk about this again probably near the end of the cast. We are now officially going to be streaming the
We got the clearance from
OTC.
everybody.
OTC.
That's going to be awesome. So we're going to, unlike last year where it was kind of a stripped down stream, because I was the only one who was able to make it this year, we're going to do full stream. So
Balls out.
yeah, we're going to do the commentating and
Yep.
all that kind of fun stuff. I should have some
We're
pretty
under
transitions and stuff.
We're
showing up.
under very strict orders from George's wife that he is not allowed to stress himself into illness.
Aw,
So,
but it's what I do.
He uses so what we discovered over the last couple of weeks is that George uses us as an excuse to play in the basement all the time.
Oh, hell yeah.
So we're making it known live that we're telling George to do less
Yes.
at this particular
Lissai.
this
Yeah,
size. So
less.
it will be it'll be one of our typical streams. But this year you're not adding more, George.
I'm always adding more.
No, you're not.
You don't
adding-
understand.
Well, then we're not to blame.
we don't
if
have-
you spend the whole weekend in the
If
hotel.
we have
room.
less than 18 cameras, I haven't done my job.
So what we're going to do this year to change things up a little is because at the SOO, Maelstrom ended up having to be runner for the entire thing.
Is a runner.
So what we're going to do is we're changing it up this year. Maelstrom and I are going to take turns being the lead commentator.
Oh God, that's going to be
It's
terrible.
going to be amazing.
We'll find you someone good.
We'll
to
find some,
commentate.
that's, the trick is that
Yes,
we find
please.
somebody that actually knows what they're talking
Yeah.
about.
Because I have no fucking clue.
It's funny. Out of the 3 of us, he actually knows more than
Well,
everybody.
yeah. So I was talking about this. One of the things that I had during that long drive was plenty of time to just shoot the shit with people.
Mhm.
And one of the things I was saying is I have this really big problem in the cast. So it used to be we had the new guy who was asking all the newbie questions, right? And then we had someone who theoretically knew everything, and then we had the face guy who was doing all the talking.
Everybody had a role.
Yeah, everybody had a role, and we were all doing our role.
Yeah.
I stopped being a PG, so I stopped giving a shit. And then you actually learned how to play, so you stopped asking all the
Somewhat.
questions.
So
I still ask questions.
Well, you
every
still
game.
ask questions, but you don't ask like the actual noob questions.
Yeah, I
And
suppose.
the actual noob questions were really useful.
well, the dynamic has changed. Is what's happened.
Yeah.
Now you're the crusty, bitter old guy.
Yeah.
He's the guy that actually plays and knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And I'm still
That's arguable.
just
Talking away.
talking away.
I'll
and
bet I've lost more games of War Machine in the last week than all of you people have played.
Magnapuss is going to crush Bubs at the OTC.
No,
yeah.
no. We're gonna stream him crushing.
Who's
Bubba.
Magnapuss?
sweet.
That's Matt.
Oh,
Matt McFalls.
Matt McWinter, yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty cool news. We will be there. We're going to spend. We'll be there Friday night. We'll probably try to get together with a bunch of folks, drink a little bit too many beers, and then
Wake up
we'll-
Wait,
around
Matt.
noon.
You think you're gonna make it into a round with the rest of that team? You think you're gonna make it to Bubba's round?
Who's he got on his team?
I won't say.
Is Alid on his team?
I won't say.
George is on his team.
George.
Hey, I'll have you know that my team did quite well last year.
So unfortunately, the bad news is that we won't get to play.
No.
at the-
Oh, we'll be playing Friday night.
yeah, we'll be.
We're going to be taking challengers on the stream
Oh,
Friday
sweet.
night.
That'll be fun.
Uh-oh.
So other things that are pretty cool that are happening.
Round one.
So other things that are happening right now is COI, the Company of Iron.
Company of Iron has
Company of
released.
Iron.
In the wild, people
Holy
have
crap.
had the day I left. I think the rules went free.
Yeah,
The
so
box.
the day you left, everything dropped.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was like the gigantic
panties,
Crix
the
CID,
everything.
Yeah.
the Company
Well,
of
that's what
Iron.
happens when I leave,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was a-
So yeah, the Company of Iron. You guys have had a chance to play Company.
Yeah,
of
I
Iron?
had 3 games, I think, now, or 4 games
Mhm.
now. It's fun. It's really... the first game took as long as a normal game of War Machine.
Mhm.
The other games were like 25 to 30 minutes.
Mhm.
It really depends on how spammy you want to get.
Yeah.
If you've got a bunch of like high-value solos, it's really quick.
Yeah.
If you decided, you know what, these guys are 9 points for 10 guys. Oh, look, now I have 30 activations to do.
yeah.
Then it just slows right the hell down.
Yeah,
Cool.
because it's back and forth, right?
Yeah.
So there's that little bit of extra time.
Do we want to go into COI right now?
No, we're going to talk
Okay.
about that more in today's focus. But I'd love to hear everybody's comments and feedback on the stream. As for the people who have had a chance to play Company of Iron, maybe some lists, whatever it is that you enjoyed playing about it. I'd love to hear about it more. Before we get started, I actually forgot to ask what everybody's week in War Machine, and I think we all got some really interesting games in this week. Jason, you lost with.
I
Crix.
lost one.
with Crix.
What the fuck?
I
Dude, so Crix is broken. We're going to have to buff it.
Yeah, we
yeah,
need.
it must just be because
I
they,
messaged
they,
Pagani today, and I was like, "I lost a game, Pagani. So obviously,
buff me some Crix.
buff
Please-
me some Crix,
Please
brother."
buff anyone in Coven because I don't even know how to play anymore.
Yeah. So yeah, the game that I lost, it was a bad matchup right from the get go, and I knew it. I was playing against Caliban double sacral vaults.
Yep.
And
Oh,
I was
Oh
got-
God.
You
I was
got the
playing-
control list.
I was playing Dark Host.
Yep.
So I had double riders.
You
and
know what kills riders?
Turn 2 riders.
Riders kill
Yeah.
riders.
So he would shoot a rider that was parasited because Caliban just parasites them.
Yep.
Kill it pretty much right away, one shot,
Yeah.
and then use that rider to kill another rider. So
Yep.
2 riders would die. Then
And
he
then-
would shoot
Then
again.
you shoot again. Yeah.
And then kill another. He wiped out 2 units of riders in one turn, and
I've played into that list. I was playing Doom Reavers. You know what
Yeah.
kills a lot of Doom Reavers? Doom Reavers.
Doom Reavers, yeah.
Except
Yeah.
Doom Reavers have tough.
Yeah.
So a third of the time they
Yeah,
just
at
lay
least they
there and
have
flopped
tough.
around on the
Yeah.
ground instead of killing other people.
but I won 2 other games, which
Well,
was
that's
nice.
good. Sweet.
What were the other games?
I played you, George. I played you on Saturday, and I played Bilac on Saturday. You were playing Irusk 1,
Yeah, I was playing Irusk 1.
and it was your first time with that
Tide
list.
of
So I
Iron, yeah.
mean,
So hold on, but your first game, it's been brought up. Does it count if you lose Crix with Crix to Crix? I don't think it counts if you lose to yourself, which is basically what happened in that game.
no. Well, see, I lost against Alid, but that was bullshit. That was I lost. I
doesn't
lost
count.
to Ghost Fleet, so I mean nobody counts that anyway.
Well, that's not even a
I mean,
loss.
I
That's
don't
just,
even play
was it
Ghost
Denny?
Fleet.
Was it Denny?
Oh,
Ghost
of
Fleet?
course.
Oh,
yes.
well then, that's
yeah.
just
That's
straight up.
just
That's
yeah, whatever.
like, why did I even show up? Thanks.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm glad you had a fun game playing with yourself.
Exactly.
The problem is most Ghost Fleet players aren't having a fun game.
No,
They're
That's
like
why I
they're
don't
going
play it.
through the operations.
Yeah, that's why I don't
so
play
you
it.
had-
It is fucking powerful.
So your other two games that you won.
Against Irusk, I dropped Scourge of the Broken Coast, so all the Statixis.
Mhm.
That was a really close game. I ended up winning on scenario with
Yeah.
15 seconds left on my clock.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was
It
tight.
was tight. Yeah, I didn't unclench for like an hour or two after that. Then I played Bylak immediately after that. And to be fair, it was his first time. Like, I keep getting people playing new casters. It was his first time playing Haley 3 because he's switched to Signar now because that's what Bylak does. And he had no idea how she operated.
He
No.
still
And
has no idea.
I was playing Black Industries, so all my jacks were armor 21, 23 against shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just trampled over all
Yeah.
the stuff and
Mhm.
killed Haley.
It's like, oh, look, there are
Yeah.
trenchers. Let's just push them back into the dirt.
Yeah. Dig in,
Yeah.
boys.
Yeah. Yeah.
So George, you've been playing some new stuff, trying to learn another
Well, I'm
thing,
working
right?
on this Iris list.
Mhm.
It's basically
So far not successfully.
no. But every time I play it, I do a little bit differently.
Mhm.
Sometimes a little bit better, sometimes worse. And I think Alad and I cooked up some new stuff. So the first time I played it was against Jason, and it did pretty well.
It did. Yeah, it did really well.
Its big problem in that game was I think I was losing too much shit. And I looked around and I'm like, you know what? Clock is my only win option now, and it was time for jamming. But he managed to clear enough stuff to clear him off. And then I played against you, and fuck your caster.
Well, this is actually really funny. So I went on. So Ashlyn came out, and I've been you guys know I've been stoked about just getting something new in my hands, because I've been playing Thexus and Osram pretty much solidly for the last year, and I love Thexus and Osram, but I found that they both had wide gaps versus Crix, particularly the Crix that Jason are playing. They both have game, but neither have like really good games. So there's no list chicken.
It's like a 20% or a 30%.
Yeah, there was no real list chicken in it. There was no like, you'd never felt threatened when I had my list. You'd just be like, I can drop one of these two, and it will pretty much just kick your ass.
Yeah, so one of the things Crix has become great at right now is the thing that they had the most problem with at the start of Mark III, which is protection against shooting.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that kind of, it defuncts the Austrian list quite a bit.
Yeah.
It doesn't defunct my 2 Siege Engine list as much.
No.
But then you just dropped your other list, and I just couldn't kill your shit.
Yeah.
So I've been really excited about Ashlyn because looking at what happened to her in CID, it looked really cool.
It is.
It's really, really interesting, and she's a really hard caster to kill because you can't knock her down now, which used to be your easy win with Ashlyn was knock her down, kill her. And with everything stacked up, and with the fact that if she's in the Lely's resistance force, you can just plop down that rubble template. She's like sitting on armor. Defense 21 or 19 or something ridiculous. Like
something
that.
way up the end of the curve.
I want to say she's a 7. I'm suddenly blanking. 17 natively, so it goes up to a 21. It's dumb. So all of that happening, and I did my own list. I did not go out and just grab somebody else's list. So it's 3 nomads, a buccaneer, a vanguard for the shield guard, and a little bit of extra shooting.
Arc node. The Lely's Jack there?
No, it's not an arc node. It's just he's just a shooty. He's a shield guard.
Oh, okay.
And then he's got Silly Willy because she really needs help with her focus because she's got one of her upkeeps costs 3, and you just want to leave that on one of your units because it's the +2 defense against shooting and magic, +2 speed. And then I take a unit of Choir and a unit of Flamebringers, which is the light cav from Menoth. They get that spell Quicken, which makes them ridiculous because they go up to defense 15 or 16, I want to say, with speed 11.
Yeah, like
That's
walk 11.
Yeah.
And then a unit of Thorn Gun Mages, and and a couple of smattering of solos. And right now I'm trying out Catboy, Hot Lunch Guy,
Ragman, You got Ragman in there?
and Ragman, and the third one. I can't remember what the third one is right now. Anyways, it's got a smattering of solos, and it's pretty ball busting because she's super hard to kill, and within that theme, everybody gets Pathfinder pretty much, except for the 3 nomads, and she gives that with one. She has not Chosen Ground.
Yeah, she does.
Yes, Chosen Ground.
Chosen Ground. So she gives away Pathfinder to them.
Yeah. So Irisk's tricks are rough terrain, right, in his entire control area, and Matt 8 on all the guys, and a turn of super tough.
Yeah.
So I made 4 out of 15 tough rolls. I had your entire army had Pathfinder, and my Matt 8 guys who should have been hitting were missing.
You did okay. You just could not focus enough damage because I was killing such large swaths of stuff.
Yeah, because
you had
because
some
no
shooting.
tough happened.
Tough
You
wasn't
had
working.
some shooting, and you just couldn't hit because everything was super high defense.
Oh no, I hit every time. Every shot I
Did you
made,
hit?
except it was POW 8 because it's not direct hit.
And so I faced you, and it was bad. It was just, it was a skewed match.
Yeah, it was
We
a-
both only brought one list, so it wasn't like it was like, haha, I tucked you. It
No,
was
no,
literally
it was
sort
just
of like,
it was just
well,
shitty for me.
So Monday was the night of skewed.
Yeah.
skewed matchups.
exactly.
And
And
then
then I went to Out of the Box last night, and
Oh, cool.
Baron killed me top of 1 or top of 2.
Oh wow.
I walked
what
6
happened?
inches forward,
Yeah.
and got jumped by 2 stalkers and died.
Oh,
That's
who,
what
who
they
was
do.
playing Stalkers?
Alad.
Oh, Alad. I thought you said
He was
Darren.
playing. No, he was playing double. The same list you were playing: double Wraith Engine, double. Well, no, you only had
Oh, I
one
didn't-
Wraith Engine.
Yeah, I didn't
but he
play
had
that
double
list.
Wraith
Scar
Engine.
double Wraith Engine.
Yeah, Scar, double Wraith Engine,
that's some
double
bullshit.
Bane Riders,
Yeah,
and
and a couple
of stalkers.
Yeah,
and
that list is bonkers.
I walked exactly 6 inches forward with my caster, and got killed.
Yeah.
Funny, that's how I died to Alad as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
By the way, the stalkers can move all the way across the board.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Yep.
Just
yeah,
Yep.
the
Now-
defense
For
against
stalkers.
those, because I've dealt with them with
Yeah.
you quite a bit. The defense against stalkers don't move up 6 inches. That's
Yeah.
pretty much what you do, and then
Be
you
very
kill them.
well aware that
Yeah.
they can jump into your face.
Mhm.
Yeah, you have to kill them top of 2. That's kind of what you do with them.
Yeah.
yep. It wasn't an option. He went first. So
Yep. Yeah.
I was boned.
Yeah.
But it has led to some changes in my list, and we'll see how they work.
Sweet. My second game was against Bylak.
Yep.
And Bylak
Haley
again
3.
was trying Haley 3. He was a bit better this time.
Yes.
He never
Still got it wrong.
He
Yeah.
he did, but he never got a chance to feat, which I
Yeah.
think would have helped him a lot.
Yeah.
I got really lucky. Oh, it was Eilish is the other person in that list. Which, by the way, several of the people who've been discussing the what to do with Ashlyn.
Yeah.
Eilish is amazing in
Yeah.
that list
Yeah.
because he fixes any miss that you get. Now, if you've got an important, like you sending a nomad downfield to go take care of something,
Yeah.
he fixes that. And he and Ragman won the game for me.
Yeah.
So I was up 4 control points by round, I think it was round 4, and I needed one more. But young Haley was sitting there in the zone, all ghostly like she, or not ghostly,
Incorporeal.
incorporeal like she likes to do.
yeah.
Mhm.
And he's like, "Aha! You have nothing that can kill me." And he's like defense 18.
18.
But Eilish and Ragman both managed to. Well, Eilish can get the extra boost on his to hit,
Yeah.
and so he hit and did like 10 damage,
Yeah.
then-
Eilish being able to boost, like
Yeah.
with bleed or whatever, is awesome.
and then Ragman did like 4 more. And then we made one mistake that I just assumed that because she's a warcaster that
She
her,
had a
her
magic gun.
magical gun would be magical.
It is
It
not.
didn't. It's not. Turns
No.
out she brings a magic sword to the fight, but she's like the one warcaster whose both weapons is not magical. Which it's
Well,
fine.
that's not true. There's a lot of casters that don't have.
They
both
made
weapons.
most casters. Well, maybe not both weapons,
At
but
least,
anyways,
yeah.
But it's
Most
pretty
casters
funny
have
that she's.
one of the two.
But
One
it's
of the
pretty
two.
hilarious that she's from like Gun Mage Mecha. And she's like, no, you know what?
Just
I
take
don't
the
need a
regular
magical gun.
gun."
I'll just take a normal gun with me that I can boost still. But
She likes her normal gun.
yeah,
It has a name.
it does.
I have no idea.
No, it doesn't. It's called gun. It's like it's hand.
That's its name.
Its name is hand cannon. She named it with love. She's not original or anything. But anyway, but it's okay because I still could have done several other things that would have done the same thing if we had realized it. I was just like, and I kill you with the gun.
Yeah, I think you would have won on scenario anyway.
Because he could not get me out of the zone.
Yeah.
So we would have just gone for one more round, and I would have run on scenario, or I would have used a spell to kill him.
Right.
But it was pretty sweet that Ragman
did
and
his job.
Eilish totally rocked it.
Yeah, that's because having a solo being able to boost, because that's usually one of the problems, right? When you're trying to hit something high def with a solo.
Eilish is so good.
Yeah.
And really, he's finding anywhere you can put him in a list, particularly in theme, he's finding a place for me.
That's awesome.
And Ragman getting the +1 to attack rolls from Ashlyn really helps him with and doing actual stuff, other than just handing out the -2 armor. Anyway, that was so we had a good game, good bunch of games this week.
Yeah.
It was pretty sweet and a lot of learning. And Jason finally lost, so his streak of 80 games in a row is over.
Yeah, it's kind of good. I mean, I don't want to win all the time.
How did that tournament you went to while I was away?
Oh, that was good. I went 2-1. Didn't bother playing the last round because I usually don't. My brain's usually kind of mushy by the end of the third game. But I played some really nice opponents, except for Alad. I played him too. I played a fellow named Joseph who was playing Scorn. So he popped Scorn down on the table. I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So the amount of times
do you remember
I've seen
anything
Scorn,
about the list?
It was
it like dude spam?
Hexy.
Was it jumpy?
I remember those. He had the jumping calves.
Oh yes,
with sidestep, and he black spotted my unit. So every time they killed something, they get to take another swipe for free, and they just mulch through shit.
Did he do my favorite trick, which is weapons with combined melee? Combined melee is just on the model; it's not on the weapon. So and because they have multiple attacks, they've got the mount and the regular one.
Yeah,
as long as they don't charge, what you can do is you can have each model CMA with his friend.
That's exactly what he did.
So basically, every model just gets +2.
Yeah,
and they get like boosted damage when they leap.
Yes,
those models
they do. Yeah.
So I've seen
them, and they just jump into your back.
I've seen
bonkers.
them just jump straight up in the air.
Yeah.
So that they are still engaged. Like if they can't get to the back arc,
yeah,
they'll just jump straight up in the air to get the extra die.
Yeah, because they jump.
And then get an extra die. It doesn't matter if they move anywhere.
Yeah.
So they jump and get the extra die, and then they do CMAs. One guy's cat with the other guy's weapon, and then the opposite.
Yeah.
So both models make an attack at +2.
Yeah. It's
plus
bonkers.
Boosted dice.
And then they have sidesteps.
And then they have sidesteps. Yeah.
And with Black Spot on my unit, he just fucking chewed through stuff.
Those kitties are dangerous.
The only thing that saved my ass that game was the sheer amount of attacks he had to make.
Killed his time.
He timed himself.
Yeah.
That is always the problem with anything like that when you're trying to chew through an attrition list is you clock yourself just trying to make all the rolls.
Yeah, that about halfway through the game, that was my win condition. I was like, I'm just going to make him puzzle himself. I'm just going to ask him some questions and see if I can get him to clock himself.
You and I in your game had to, because you were making so many tough checks. And the same thing happened in Bilak's game. That I was eventually like, I'm going to have to start clocking over to these fuckers. Because if you're also...
I made my tough checks instantly.
Oh, you were really quick. But that's one of those other things, though. The combination of having to make a million attacks.
Yep.
And then the other guy also having...
checks.
Yeah, so you have to be really cognizant because...
Yep.
It's almost unfair to burn through your opponent's clock. So you almost it's almost a nice thing to be like help them out by clocking over because that can be a bitch when you're.
If I ever have to look for a die or look something up, I flip it over to myself. If I'm just rolling a tough check, I won't touch the clock because I'm quick enough with that.
So let's go back to the news. The 12 Days of Christmas Second Edition updates.
Well, they came out.
They came out.
Yeah.
So they're all done.
Done.
Which, of course, included Ashlyn, some changes to the gun mages.
Orion, Jalam.
Choir.
Agrimony.
No, not choir. Sorry. Menoth got a couple of...
The Dragoon? Was it a Dragoon?
Was it the Dragoon?
Yep.
There was a bunch of little quality of life changes,
Yeah.
which is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm happy.
most of those
Menoth
were
got some stuff, and Signar got some stuff.
yeah. Most of those quality of life stuff was attuned to the casters
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
because
they
the
were part of those.
Yeah.
It made the Lely's resistant force a bit better. They made gun mages. They fixed gun mages to a
Yes.
degree, which
Yeah.
is kind of sweet. They gave them mage sight as a mini feat, which
Yeah,
is
that's
pretty
awesome.
sweet. It's
I
only with
wonder
the
if
UA,
it's
but
enough.
I don't know if it's. I've heard from Signar players as well, because we can take them in mercs as well with the Lely's resistance force. I've heard them say that they're still overcosted for what they are, but I
Right.
see a place for them with Ashen +1
Yeah.
to hit.
Yeah.
With them puts them up to 8s.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I think the leader goes up to a 9.
Yeah, and if they can
That's
stand
so
still in aim,
we're
that's even better.
Friggin' amazing.
So let's have a little bit of a talk about the fact that War Machine is back to the middle of Mark II.
Yeah.
So at the beginning
How
of
long
Mark
do we
th-
have for this?
No, I just wanted to talk to this because we haven't talked about this yet on the cast.
Yeah, that's what a 3-man CR
So
is all about.
we at the beginning of Mark III, before we had Team Forces, it was just Jank City.
Yeah.
Because who cared? Nobody had anything.
Yeah.
And then we swiftly moved into Jack City.
Yeah.
It was high armor ruled the roost,
Mhm.
and so everybody built lists to break high armor.
Yeah.
Now, what seems to be coming back into fashion is what we had in Mark II, which was weapon master spam.
Yep.
Mass
arms.
dude spam,
But I'm still seeing
along with
I think there's a lot more
an
combined
alt
arms.
list.
than
Yeah,
there
I was
in
going to
Mark
say
II.
there's a lot more combined arms, and I'm seeing more balanced jack lists, especially out of factions like Crix
Yeah.
and Kador.
Yeah.
Whereas before we just didn't. I mean, you're not playing it right now with a couple of the rocket spam
Yeah.
list, and the list you're playing right now isn't
Yeah.
playing as much jack
Yeah.
spam, but we're still seeing jacks in pairings.
Well, no,
Um,
what I mean is we're now seeing a jack list
Yeah.
and a dude spam list, but where before
Yeah.
we were seeing two jack lists.
well, that's
or
funny
we were
because
seeing like lots of cav.
right.
We're still seeing some cav, but we're not seeing the 18. Everybody
well,
has
I think
2
it's going the
units of
opposite
cav.
direction for me. My lists are becoming more balanced.
Mhm.
I don't know about you guys, but I think in Mercs in particular, I'm not hinging everything on a jack spam. I'm not hinging. I'm doing like
Right.
a couple of units. It seems to be pretty balanced. A couple of units, a few jacks, a smattering of solos, and in theme, that's the general composition of most of my armies, and it's to solve problems and that kind of thing. I think we're seeing more solos.
But if you look at Crix, just as an example,
Which
because
is also
they're
Mark
effective.
middle of Mark II. Crix is the
Well,
boogeyman.
we're
again.
seeing. Well, yeah, but
Yeah.
we're seeing Statixa spam. We're
Yep.
seeing Bane spam.
Well, that's
we're
partly to
we're
do with
seeing
themes.
Ghost Fleet, which is also a spam list.
Yep.
Right.
So we're
Yes,
taking
there.
spam, yeah.
Yes, there are themes, but what I mean is, as opposed to seeing just 2 jack lists,
Oh, I think you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. I don't
we're
think
seeing, we're coming
I think,
around
but I
to
think
this.
this is good because that's when the game was singing in the middle of Mark II.
Mhm.
I think that tells me that we're back to almost singing again. All
Yeah.
the models have places. The things that we're seeing now that we didn't see in the middle of Mark II, battle engines are being played.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Colossals.
when you double their armor, that happens.
Well, but Colossals as well. The Colossals are playable, not necessarily every faction.
Mhm.
Gargossels, not necessarily every faction, but
Mhm.
close to. You're seeing them. You're seeing them in lists, even if it's a jank list, even if it's like.
Has anybody seen an
funny story
Archangel?
funny story about a Kraken on Monday.
Oh yeah.
The Kraken that could not kill a Sacral Vault
What?
and then died to Croak Raiders.
That'll happen.
Yeah.
Wait, it
Croak
is-
Raiders, they're
it
back.
is Mark
Croak
II.
Raiders, they're back.
Totally
Croak
Mark
Raiders.
II. Croak Raiders are able to take down a Gargossel by themselves.
Yep.
James blames it on you and your booter list.
Well, the good news is that the booter list is retired pretty much. Well, actually, that's not true because it could be really good. I just have to put it in with a whole bunch of other solos. But I don't plan on playing that because it's not that much fun to play. It's one of those. It's
It's
really
like a Kador list,
it's
right?
Pretty much. You play it once, and then somebody throws something that, you can't knock down any of my models. Okay, then. So I'm done.
Playing the other list, yeah.
Yeah. So Crix overhauls are happening right now.
Mm.
You're in what, phase 4 of the
The
CID?
Yeah, the CID ends on
Hashtag fake
Friday.
rules?
Yeah, this has
Yeah.
gone. This has gone pretty far. Like this CID.
2 weeks.
No, but I mean, it seems to have gotten a lot of updates.
Yes.
Compared to some
There's
of
been-
some
there's
of
been
them, they
tears
put
and
out
anger.
one, and everybody's like,
Yeah.
these are pretty close, and then
There's
you get a
been-
second one. But this just like seems to have been.
There's been some
Moving
salt
a lot.
and some, and I really want to hand it to PP for this because the Crix haters are out in force on the CID forum.
Oh yeah.
So there's like 5 or 6 names particularly that just every post they make is this needs to go and this needs to go and blah blah blah, without any real proof or
They're
Like
just
that
they're
thing.
pressurizing
They're-
for major change.
Yeah, they're
to-
pressurizing for major change, and it's just not going to happen. But PP is not going that route. They're not listening. They're taking the tested feedback and they're doing weighed responses. And so far, with the inclusion of a few boo-boos, which they've admitted and fixed pretty much right away, it's going fantastically. There's been nerfs where there needs to be nerfs, I think, and there's been a few buffs where they needed a little bit of something.
Crix did not need any buffs. Let's just put this down.
Certain models,
I would say that is factually incorrect because there were a bunch of models
Oh,
that we
okay.
never
Yes.
saw.
certain models got
like,
a little
like
bit of a
what you want to do in any faction, right? Is sort of equalize it so that all
Yeah.
the models see some kind of play.
And I mean, the main reason for the CID is the new models that aren't out yet.
yeah.
And they sound interesting.
So I guess the big
the
question
Crix
is
rack.
with all of,
Yeah.
I mean, I think what's on everybody's mind is what's the state of Denny 1 right now?
So Denny 1, I think, is completely probably where she should be.
What did they do?
they
Because
kept-
they went
so they-
really far with her at one point, and you guys are pretty angry.
Well, yeah, the biggest thing I was kind of annoyed about was they moved her Warjack points down.
Right.
From
Which was
20,
unnecessary.
28 to 25, which
Yeah.
is a pretty big hit.
Yeah.
Which means you can't take double arc nodes, double stalkers anymore.
Yeah.
That was
and I think that's specifically why.
that's
it was.
probably why. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Alad. It's over. But they removed. So they kept the stat line portion of her feat. The -2 speed, arm, rat,
Which
blah,
is
blah, blah.
pretty friggin' ball busting.
Which is pretty ball busting. But they removed the clause that said you cannot run, charge, make special orders, or power attacks.
because that's just like
Ooh, okay,
redonkulously
yeah.
powerful. That
Yeah,
that is
that's-
like
that's pushing it.
well,
over
that's
the
old
top.
Haley
Yep.
level of powerful.
Well,
Yep.
and then if you're going to nerf old Haley, then it's down to a tolerable point. Then
Yeah.
we need to also bring Denny down to a tolerable
Exactly.
point because
Yeah.
that's just so ball busting that there's just basically a turn where you're like, okay, I'll go and get ice cream.
Yeah.
You kill whatever you can kill. When I come back, we'll
Yeah.
have a game.
And there's
Yeah.
certain things in factions that in Crix that just couldn't see any love because of the Denny factor.
Yeah, so that is something I find really interesting. There have always been these models
Yeah.
that sort of hold back an entire faction.
Yeah.
The classic example of that is the Creelstone,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because the Creelstone buff exists, there's a lot of troll models that
That
can
can't
never
get
break
buffed. Yep.
certain
power levels.
power
or
levels,
whatever.
yeah.
Right. Well, and that's the problem. Like that's what I think one of the things that PP is trying to do in Mark III is get rid of that problem that we had in Mark II, which was all Signar players must play
Yeah.
Haley 2.
Yeah.
All all Crix players must play Denny.
one, yeah. It's,
All and that's the
Yeah.
thing. Like, and then we don't. I'd like to see us not end up in that trap again. And if
Yeah.
it's a matter of just taking those casters, I'm with Bilak, and I thought I'd never say that in my life. That we don't like the double tap, which
Right.
is
yeah.
that's a
we're
bit
going
much.
to punish you
Yep.
by killing that by
Yeah.
just making that caster unplayable.
Yeah.
I don't like to see that, but I do like I do like it when they take that caster, they alter the power curve
Yeah.
just enough.
Yep.
That now they're on par with everybody else and they're not so skewed.
I think the main reason people were salty about the Warjack points is because that was a double tap.
Mhm.
They took away the second part of her feat the first week,
Well,
and then the next update they took away the Warjack points.
I don't think the Warjack points is actually a double tap. I believe that is just making you actually
that's-
make
yeah.
a decision.
yeah,
It-
and
you
that's
can-
cool.
It's
That's
not that
fine.
you can't take them. Like
Yeah,
that's the thing.
that's right, but
you
you're
just
gonna
now
have to lose
make
something.
Yeah,
a
you
You're
lose
decision.
that.
gonna
You
make
lose
a
that
choice.
3-point solo out
Yep.
of your list.
Exactly. And the one thing that has been showing up in the Crix CID specifically, and I hope this happens more often, is a couple of the character jacks are getting into theme.
Yes.
Which is sweet.
So,
I would love to see more of the character
so
Jackson.
Charybdis, who also got buffed, he finally
he
got
did?
Gunfighter.
Oh
so
my God,
you actually
thank
have an
goodness.
8-inch spray, not a 4-inch spray
Nice.
now. And he went down 2 points, which is awesome. So he's 17 points now. But
Do you think you'll start taking him? He's a gorgeous
I
model.
think if for certain casters, I definitely will. Icos 2 definitely wants him. He's bonded, but
Well, he's bonded.
he's still amazing with that caster. And Bathroom made it into one of the themes, the Slaughter Fleet theme.
Oh, cool.
So you can just take Bathroom
just
in this
take Bathroom,
because
yeah.
nobody was playing Terminus, and Bathroom just
so
is not
Bathroom
seeing
never
any
shows
love.
up because there's no Terminus players.
Yeah.
It's too bad. I really love Terminus.
Yeah.
Terminus.
But I hope this trend goes forward because I'd like to see more of the characters on the table.
I mean, honestly, that they're the most, honestly, some
Yeah.
of the most beautiful models in the game.
Yeah,
Right down, I
for
mean,
sure.
even Old Rowdy, who's probably the simplest character Jack out there,
Yeah.
is the most gorgeous Signar,
Yeah.
like standard chassis
Right,
Jack.
yeah.
And he paints beautifully. And to me, that's a large part of the game. And when we just don't have them,
Yeah.
when
When they're
all,
tied to a specific caster that
Or-
nobody takes, then
and we're all playing themes,
yeah,
so
exactly.
Yeah.
You know, why take that?
Yeah.
And character
I'd-
Jacks are really expensive. So
Yeah,
I
I'd
would
love
Yeah.
to. I'd love to see things like not having Ruin tied to the butchers because
Yes.
because Ruin is an amazing Jack, and I'd love to see it more on
But
the
you
table.
can
And it
only see
looks
him-
gorgeous, but
Yeah.
you have to be playing butcher basically for
Yeah,
him to
and
show
I mean,
up.
some themes, character Jacks will probably just break.
Yeah,
But in certain
it's
themes,
obviously
I
a
think
measured
they
thing.
belong. Yeah, there's a place for them somewhere.
So Northkin, of course, in the wild, we did a podcast, the last cast we did, I
Yeah.
believe, on the Northkin. So if you want to learn more about what came,
the
I
bear
would-
models are as gorgeous
They
as
are
previously.
gorgeous.
Yeah, they look
Um,
amazing.
Feast of the Fallen has begun, which is the new.
If you have not played Company of Iron, I highly suggest getting out to somewhere where they're doing Feast of the Fallen, because the way Feast of the Fallen works is that a lot of the scenarios lead from one to the other. So, for example, one of them is like you do a Company of Iron fight over the town square,
Yeah.
and then the next battle is a full War Machine battle over
Oh,
the
that's cool.
rest of the town.
Okay.
that sounds really
Yep.
fun.
Yeah,
it does.
Like it's
So
it's
you could
actually
do
really
like
neat.
you could do a COI game and then follow up immediately.
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
general-
Sudabite
Cool.
and I don't know if Jesse's got a handle. Did exactly that
Oh, that's awesome.
on Tuesday.
So yeah, that kind of wraps up the news. There was a lot of things that happened, obviously, while I
Yeah.
was away. We're moving towards our 100th episode.
Mhm.
And as we continue towards the 100th episode, there's going to be some changes in our format, as we've discussed on previous shows. And once we hit the 100th episode, we'll do some revamping, and we'll see what happens, because life has gotten pretty busy for everybody. So there may be some changes in how we schedule things. We'll see how that goes. We're going to be discussing that as time goes on. Come visit us, of course, if you're at the OTC. Come visit us. Come hang out with us.
Yep.
Yep.
And
the Sioux. the next
anybody
month.
who
Yep.
any of our friends who've been on the cast, or that are not going to be playing in the OTC but are going to be in the area, talk to George, because we are going to need guest commentators.
Yes.
Yeah.
So anybody who wants to come, who's not playing because they didn't make it in because of the cutoff or whatever, give us a call. Give George a ping, because we're going to need those expert opinions. And if you've always wanted to commentate live, which is super fun, actually.
Yeah,
you
it
and I have
really
always,
is.
always enjoyed it.
You gotta get on the commentators table at least one round.
Yeah, you really should.
I haven't commentated in a long
And
time.
we know how
Yeah,
to
man.
we know how to click the play button. It's not that
Yep.
hard. You make it
have
you make
no
it
idea.
you make it seem really hard.
I have no idea.
Now that was a segue
That
to-
Was it?
the
That
round
was
table.
one of those little
Yeah, one of those writing things.
writing things.
To tonight's roundtable, which actually we're going to talk a bit. We're going to pick George's brain. I'm going to let you just go. Normally I interrupt you
What the
after
fuck?
about 4 minutes of rambling, but tonight we're going to talk a bit about how to stream your games and best practices. So I think the most common question.
How deep do you want to go?
We're not going to go that deep.
Okay.
We'll keep it pretty round table-ish, because we also have opinions on what makes a good stream versus a bad stream. Probably the
I'm just gonna go right now, Tony. If you're listening to this right now, Tony's PP streaming guy. Tony, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry about things I'm going to say.
Now
Because I'm going to say things.
Measured responses.
They measured responses.
I have measured responses.
No, you don't.
I also have
They're
unmeasured.
They're measured negatively.
I have a really large ruler.
We're going to give this about 10 minutes. We're going to give some tips and tricks. The first thing is I think the most common question we get after the SOO every year and every time we stream a live game here is, how do you do that? What's the best way to do that, or whatever?
The easiest way to get started, find a laptop with a webcam on it, and put it on a stack of books next to your game table, or a chair. A chair is
I tied mine to or duct taped it to a chair the first time I streamed a game.
And you'll want a program called OBS, the Open Broadcaster.
Free.
Yep, it is
Download
absolutely free. Download it. You'll create one scene, add the webcam that is built into your laptop, use the mic that is built into your laptop, point it at the table, and start streaming. Like, it is really that simple.
Now, here's the thing.
That is the base level of how to get into streaming.
And this is exactly what I wanted to say. Is I want to reiterate, I would rather see more streams out there of War Machine.
Absolutely.
I think everybody thinks, maybe because of the work that you've been doing over the last year, maybe because of the work that PP's doing, and a lot of our other high-end streaming guys, that you have to be at this ridiculously high-quality point. And the funny part is
do you remember when we started?
Well, but here's the thing. I think a lot of people get turned off by it because they stream a game, and all they get is a bunch of people that come on and complain about the quality of their stream. Like, oh, your sound is terrible, and your light is awful, blah. Nerds are going to do that. We are nerds.
About the WTC streams? Oh, sorry.
The point is that
I'm sorry, Clint.
People come on and they complain about stuff like that without really understanding that, hey, I'd rather just have a game that I can watch.
Yeah, like, so the classic thing when you're creating content is that the people who are really just sitting there and enjoying your content will never say anything.
Yeah, exactly.
All of those people who are having a wonderful time say absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
The only people who are going to respond to you at the beginning are, as they say, the haters.
Yeah, exactly.
The people who want you to fix something are the only people who are going to talk.
So that's the first thing is don't worry about that.
Yeah.
You're going to get that guy that comes on and tells you your audio is terrible.
Did you hear me say anything about bringing the chat up? No. Literally don't do anything.
Just play your game, do it on a stream. Don't. If you look at some of the next level, of course, is doing what teams like Arcane Assist do, which is do a little bit of editing, do your voiceover.
Well, no, that's not streaming. That's
not
reporting.
streaming. So don't try to be a battle report.
Yeah, no, just stream games. So I would say the first level is just a laptop sitting on a chair pointing downwards, streaming.
Yeah.
The next step up from that is buy yourself a good mic. Because people will always forgive bad video more quickly than they will forgive bad audio.
And I would say, more importantly than buying a good mic, find yourself a quiet room to play.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Improve your audio.
Improve
should
your
be
audio.
the better way of saying that.
Yeah.
Sometimes the answer is a good mic.
Sometimes
the answer is just to tie your children in the basement.
Or not playing it in the middle of the gaming store.
Yeah.
Find the quiet room in the back. There are microphones that do a better job at cutting out area.
One of our biggest upgrades for our tournament gear was getting some microphones that block most of the noise.
Those are like $1,000 worth of microphone or
that's
more.
what I was saying. No,
but you can do that with a snowball as well. Like you can get snowballs that don't pick up from the back. You can play around with some of the USB microphones.
The word you're looking for is cardioid. You want you want one that will pick up from the front but has that hole in the back.
So technically, you're wrong on what a cardioid is.
I am.
You're talking about a directional microphone.
Okay.
So what you want is a shotgun if you're talking about cardioid actually picks up like a heart. So
okay.
it picks up around with a dead zone in the back. So yes, to a degree.
It does have a dead zone in the back,
but it's
going to pick up more.
But it picks up all of this. Now, a nice
a
setup
cheap shotgun mic.
these a cheap shotgun mic, or you look at something like the snowballs where you can literally have 3 or 4 different settings where it's only picking up from the front. It's only But I would say your best bet, I'm looking at what we use for the podcast, we're using what's like a stage mic.
Yeah, the problem with the stage mics is, of course, is how close you have to be to
That is the thing, but that is a dense cardioid. cardioid, and the reason why we're using these is because we can be close like this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
When
and
you're
it doesn't-
casting, you can sit 2 inches from a mic.
and it doesn't pick up you as well.
Great
and-
for death metal vocals.
Yes, actually.
That's what we used to use.
Mhm.
Sure, SM58s.
Camera angle is a big one. People
Yeah,
make
so
the same
this
series of
is
mistakes.
this is
Yeah.
this is a place that I would say that this is not a technical concern. This is what I would call a stylistic choice.
Yes.
Because PP loves their overhead shot.
Mhm.
It drives me freaking bonkers because I don't know what every model on that table
It
is.
just looks like a bunch of circles.
Yeah, it is. If I wanted to watch two people playing Vassal, I would go watch two people playing Vassal. What I want is a simulation of a 5.5 to 6.5 foot tall person standing next to the table. Like that's
Yep.
sort of what I want in a
Yep.
game setup. Now, that's not to say the overhead overhead camera does not have its uses. It is absolutely wonderful for
Cutaways.
cutting away when, especially if you're at the level where you're doing whiteboard stuff, where you're drawing on the screen, then it's wonderful because it's so easy to draw on the screen and show where models are moving. But for just like if I have to pick one to watch, 100%,
Yeah.
I want
Yeah, you want it about 6 feet.
like 3.5 to 4 foot from the table height
Yeah.
is sort of a good spot,
Yep.
about 6 foot from the floor.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you can get to that spot,
And a cheap tripod's going to do that for you.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
most USB cameras that you buy for your computer have you'll see a little screw area in the bottom of them, and that's when you're buying your USB camera, get the one
buying
that has
a
the
USB
screw.
camera is really, really easy. You go and buy a Logitech 920. That's it.
And that has the little screw.
The
thing on the
C920.
bottom. Yeah,
It
has
has
a little,
absolutely everything you need.
and you can mount that to a tripod head, and you can go to Walmart and buy a $30 tripod, and
Yeah.
now you've solved all your problems.
Yeah, exactly. The
So now we've just lowered the cost of admission down to what, $80?
Yeah, something like that.
Decent stream.
The C920 from Logitech, just to give you guys a little bit of pedigree, is the same webcam that we use, the same webcam that PP uses.
Yeah.
It's the same one that basically if you ever watch like Twitch streamers, every one of them is using, unless they are sponsored by somebody else, is using a Logitech C920.
Now the next question, and this is a bit contentious. There's to commentate or not to commentate.
And
I would
and
warn.
Again,
I would say one step better than that.
Yeah.
What to hear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's not just whether to commentate or not.
So one of the comments we've had year after year from some of the streams that shall remain nameless, that we strive to be better than.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Which
think,
is all of them. We are better than all of them.
well, one of the things. So before we started streaming the SOO, we looked at best practices. We looked
Yep.
at what
Yeah.
everybody else was doing, and one of the pieces of feedback we had was their stream is amazing, except their commentators don't talk about what's happening.
Well, yeah.
And that is not so. I am happy to hear about on a podcast people's tribulations with their wives, how funny their best friend is,
Yeah.
poop jokes, whatever.
Because
it
that's what
is,
I'm signing up for.
Because that's what I'm saying. It's a podcast.
Yeah.
When I'm watching a stream, particularly because I watch it because it is like watching sport ball to me.
Yeah.
I want commentators talking about what's going on the table, no matter how boring it is.
Because you might learn something. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like, holy shit, we're watching high level games.
Did
and
either
I
of you
want
get a
people
chance to
talking
watch
about-
anything from the War Machine weekend?
Yeah, I watched pretty much. I think I missed one game on War Machine weekend, and it
What
was
did-
fantastic.
Yeah, I was
The
going to say,
commentators
what did
were
you think of the
fucking
commentating?
spot on.
Because from the little that
Yeah.
I got to watch,
Yeah,
PP's
It was-
commentating for War Machine weekend
it was amazing.
was great.
They've listened to us.
Yeah.
It's only taken us 4 years of criticizing. 'cause-
Well, it was
Doug Hamilton was on there.
yeah, Doug was
once.
on there.
Pagani is the best choice they could have made for getting on that stream because
absolutely.
he keeps the other people on like Schick.
Yeah.
He keeps them on task.
Well, he does the will,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
He guides the conversation back around to what's happening on the table.
So
Which
I
is-
love listening to Hungerford and Schick But when they get together to commentate, you don't know what the fuck is going on in the game
don't.
because
They're talking about something. Which so we made it. The other thing is,
Made a decision.
We made a decision that we would only talk about the game as much as possible, and we'll joke around a little bit.
Yeah.
But one of the things that we found really important, and actually I think it was Chris Orr and I that really nailed this down the first
At the
time
Sioux.
at the Sioux a few years ago. I noticed that when nothing's happening or when we have nothing to talk about, Chris would just lean back and pull away from the microphone.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's a perfect lesson.
Yep.
Commentating is super fun and we get super excited about it. I'm on the radio.
Yeah.
Whee! But if there is nothing for you to talk about,
let the
pull back.
players just go.
And then listen to the players' audio.
Yep.
Because they're going to be discussing things and that's where you're going to learn what to talk about next.
Yeah.
So here is a question. As a company, so just as a person streaming like we do, do you think it is better for the audience to hear the people playing or not to?
I think it's important to hear the people playing it to a balance.
Okay.
Yeah, I what Will just said I think sums it up perfectly. If there's nothing that the commentators can really add to what's going on, I think it's good for them to sit back and
For the audience to hear the commentator?
turn to the players
To the
and
players.
hear the players because they're the ones who are going to be filling in those blanks.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the player, if you're commentating, if you have good commentators,
Yes.
the players often don't
Yeah, sometimes they don't
have
talk.
anything, or they just,
Yeah.
there's a lot of just nothing happening,
Yeah.
and it can get very boring just to listen to them go, yeah, you should have rolled another D6.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry about that, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
Whereas there's no tactical conversation going on.
Right.
Because the neat thing about commentating is what you're doing is you're taking your knowledge of the game and you're trying to figure out what the two players are doing. That's the most fun part. It's like
Yes,
mathing it
yeah.
out. You're like, oh, he's moved Icos up 3 inches. That's
Yeah.
interesting. I think he's doing that in order to do this, and then it's really cool when you're right. And then the other commentator will go, oh, no, he's doing that.
Yeah.
That is where the fun part
Yep.
comes. You don't get that if the players are the only people talking.
No, and there was a lot of that War Machine weekend. It was basically a guessing game for Pagani and whoever was on the stream to see what the player was doing, and the next move they would either be right or wrong, and it was extremely entertaining to listen to because at the same time you're thinking, I think Pagani might be right this time, but he's probably wrong about that.
Oh, I
or
think
whatever.
I think that's why people listen to
Yeah.
it.
At War Machine Weekend, I was surprised at how close the commentators were to the table. They were maybe
I saw pictures
10
of that, and I
feet,
was like, "Holy shit, that's dangerous!"
Maybe 12 feet. But
Yeah.
from as I was lucky enough to be able to spend a little bit of time talking to Tony. They have found that at a con of that size, like at the Sioux or War Machine
you
Weekend,
can't hear him.
the amount
Of
of
people talking.
people in the room talking,
Yeah.
it never gets quiet enough that they can hear the commentator.
I mean, we did it years ago where we were just outside of the room, and we did it. The first year we did it, we were like 5 feet away.
Yeah.
And to be honest, as long as you talked into the microphone like this, like
Yeah.
a golf commentator, it
Yeah.
didn't matter.
Yeah.
And so one of the things I was thinking about this year for the Sioux is it might be nice to get us back in the room.
Yes, that's
'Cause I
actually
don't-
one
I
thing
don't
I
think
want to do.
yeah.
If we can swing it at the OTC, I wanted to get us back in the room.
Yeah. And try it.
So, as a new streamer, I would say don't worry about commentating.
No. But if you're going to do it, there's some advice.
Now,
So-
one of the things I would do is once you have streamed a couple of games and you feel more comfortable on the stream, get out an extra, like a phone or a tablet or something that you're not using for War Room, and get the chat up and talk to the chat.
Yeah.
Because often the chat will ask questions that you'll be able to answer, and they will often... Now, the one thing to be aware of, this will affect your gameplay.
Yeah.
Your game will be longer, and often you will get new strategies that you probably wouldn't have thought of yourself, because someone who can spend all of their brain power on strategy and none of their brain power on physically having to move models is going to see shit that you will never see.
Yeah.
So be aware that it's going to affect your game, but having that level of interaction as your second step, I would say, is a really good idea.
The last piece of warning I want to give to anybody who's going out and streaming an event, because this is the inevitable result of this is it's cool to stream your home games. But it's amazing to stream events.
Yeah.
And streaming events is actually really easy. Most game stores have decent internet nowadays. Here's my word of warning for you. Keep what is happening in the chat away from the players. Keep the commentation away from the players. Keep your opinion to yourself.
Yeah.
I have seen over our career of the last 4 years, probably 4 or 5 games affected by what's happened offline.
Yes.
Whether it's a person playing the game hearing something that somebody says, or a note in chat that gets passed along to a judge that then has to go and deal with something. And very rarely has that actually happened. But in a lower level event, it may. Because it may not be an official judge, and he may, you mean he's done an illegal move 3 moves ago? Well, shit, blah, 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 blah. You know what? Fuck all that.
Yeah.
Keep all that to yourself, because there's going to be things that come out at you from the chat. It's really important to keep that level of separation between the game.
Let the judge do their job. Let the players do their job.
Yeah. Just
try not to affect the game.
Just like in a sports game or in
sports ball?
I'm trying not to use that. That's very dismissive of people who actually like sports. So during a game,
sensitive.
Wow.
during
he must be into hockey or something.
During a game of hockey or football or whatever,
the
judges actually are not getting any information from the television commentators or anything like that.
Yeah.
Basically, that you want that game to exist in a bubble
exactly.
that is not being affected by the outside world, and try as much as you can to keep it that way.
Okay, guys, we're going to talk a little bit about the tonight's focus. You want to
Company of Iron.
Go ahead and hit the button. Or maybe it just won't work. Okay.
Focus!
Wow, it was pokey. Tonight's focus, we're just going to talk a bit about making a list in Company of Iron for those people who haven't had a chance to make one yet, or that are confused by how it works the first time they read
really
the rules.
easy.
Well, the first thing is there's no large bases, right?
Oh yeah, so we need to
no
say,
warcasters.
So
no
we need to
warlocks.
say this: if it has focus manipulation, it don't exist. If it has a large base, it don't exist.
Okay, so those are the 2 main things, and then you get 25 points?
20 or 25. There are 2
Okay.
point sizes to play. I don't think I've ever played at 20. Everybody seems to play 25.
So what
that
is
might just be a meta
What
thing.
is the deal with the unit or the commander? Like each.
So if you have your commander is either a solo that you pick, or if you're using a unit, the commander can be the leader of the unit.
Okay.
And then the commander gets a special ability card.
Oh, okay.
So they have this thing called a command card. And command cards you'll get some in the base game. You'll get some from Feast of the Fallen. I got one at War Machine Weekend. They're basically like sort of the collector cards.
Right.
If you miss a card, don't worry about it. In about 6 months, it'll appear in War Room.
Okay.
But basically, they're giving people sort of 6 months to play with their new toy.
Mm-hmm.
And that command ability will give them a thing.
Okay.
One of them gives them Heart Eater. One of them gives them Scrapper. Super tough. There are a bunch of abilities that are granted.
So it
by a
doesn't matter
command card.
who you have as the. I guess you have to either choose a unit leader.
He also gets more hit points.
Oh, okay.
He gets an extra. I want to say 8.
And does the game end if the leader gets killed?
Absolutely not.
Oh, okay. So
no.
They're just cool.
It's your super guy. It's the guy that everybody is rallying around.
Gotcha. Okay. So and then you build around 25 points. There's some adjustments in War Room, obviously.
Yeah, as I said, no focus manipulation, so no juniors, no lesser warlocks. Obviously, no warlocks and warcasters, and then no large bases. You can. There's a commander card that will give you Jack Marshall, or you can take Jack Marshalls if you want to get a. Light. So Pseudobite is telling you it's an extra 5, not an extra 8.
And it can be a UA as well.
Yeah. It can be one of the guys on the table. And then you build a 25-point list. One of the things to keep in your head is that units work a little differently because you activate a model at a time. So instead of it being I move all my guys and you move all your guys, it's I activate a model, you activate a model, I activate a model. So there are some weirdnesses. For example, shield wall. So I move my guy up and I say he shield walls. So he's currently the only guy who has shield wall.
So he
and
doesn't
since
get the
he's the only
bonus.
guy who has shield wall and he has no friends,
he doesn't get
he
a
doesn't
shield
get a
wall
bonus. The second guy who says I does a shield wall order and walks up to the other guy, now they both have it.
Okay, so you have to do it in So
So all the normal
kill the shield wall guy
First, right off the bat.
So if you could kill them before they get to shield wall, you can do that. Now,
or even knock them down, probably.
killing guys is tough.
Yeah.
Because when you are dropped to the 0 boxes level, you make a special roll, an injury roll. And depending on how you roll, there are a couple different levels. You could just be knocked down.
Mm-hmm.
Then the majority of it is you're injured. And an injured model stops being what they call battle ready, which means they don't get to activate and a bunch of other things.
Okay.
And then there's just a chance that you just straight die.
Right.
You just take a bullet to the face and it's over.
So it sounds like that's kind of like the Blood Bowl way the Blood Bowl works. So there's like
a little
bit of a
bit, but
randomized-
an
injury table.
But
yeah.
an injured guy can try to stand up on the next turn.
Okay.
He can. He
So you have
basically
to roll to
re-rolls,
stand up?
and then he
Okay.
re-rolls, and then he could die again. But if
Can
you
you die if you're knocked down? Like if you're knocked down.
if you're just knocked down, you're just knocked down.
But when you go to roll to stand up, is there a chance that you could die?
No,
instead
if
of
you're just
standing up?
knocked down, you can just stand up as
Okay.
normal.
Oh, okay.
It's only if you're injured that you're going to have to make a roll.
Okay.
And if you have a friend helping you, you get a +1 to that roll.
Oh, so
So
you
if
can get
you-
somebody like base to base.
Yeah,
and-
if you get a guy base to base, it can help him up.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
That sounds pretty interesting. So
Yeah.
I mean, that's perfect. That's what we wanted to talk about. How to make your first list so you can go and play your first game.
So,
Yep.
one thing to think about is if you have double the models of your opponent, they're going to get extra cards in their hand.
Yeah.
So it's something to think about if you are planning on playing a spam list. Spam list good.
Mhm.
Weapon masters good.
Yeah.
Everything that makes normal infantry good, still good.
Yeah.
So it's something to think about. Try not to take too many really high point sinks
Yeah.
because these, let's be honest, these are infantry people.
Like medium base jacks or whatever.
Well, more like people who are slightly overcosted. The OK Bears of Gullswood.
Okay.
They're an example of people that you could bring, but because they're a little bit overcosted,
They just dumb down your whole army.
Yeah.
well,
You don't
they
have the
just
support spells to.
you don't have the stuff to make them really
Right.
awesome. Now, they're great bears. They're going to do a lot of work, but with the right mitigation, they're going to do absolutely nothing.
Right. Okay, guys, we're gonna leave that behind because it's time for tonight's
The lightning round.
That was good. Dramatic tension.
Yeah.
Dramatic tension.
Yeah, I like dramatic tension.
Sport ball.
Sport ball. Dismissive.
All right.
I try not to be dismissive.
Question number 1. What is Ashland's last name?
Fucker.
Delise?
It is Delise. It is not fucker. -1 points for you. She kills you once. Question number 2. What 3 attack types can Arcane Tempest Gun Mages make? Go.
Lightning bolt, which is the pushback. What is it? Brutal, which is the extra die. And what's the third one? Do they still have snipe?
You're pretty damn close, so I'm going to give you the point on that one. Crit Brutal.
Oh, it's
Snipe,
Crit
and
Brutal.
Thunderbolt is the name.
Oh, it's Thunderbolt, not Lightning
Thunderbolt,
Bolt. Sorry.
not Lightning Bolt. That's fine. Question. So it's
I
not,
knew what they
not
did.
confused with like an arc
Yeah.
lightning type of thing. Question number 3. What is the arm on the Vessel of Judgment? Go.
20.
It is 20. Question number 4. Who is known as the Dark Prince? George.
Vlad?
What's his full name?
Vlad Tepesky?
Vladimir Tepeshky is correct. He's killing you tonight.
Yeah.
You've been rocking these the last few weeks. What, did you not sleep today? Or
Yeah.
Bel Air. I like that as the last name.
A Pistol Wraith has chain attack what? George.
Jane, what is it called? Where are you stationary?
Oh.
Stationary.
But what's it called?
Oh god damn it! It has the same name as something else.
Jason?
You
You can't remember either?
I'm going to say crippling grasp.
It's Chill Touch.
Chill touch. Yeah, there's something else
Yeah.
with chill touch, and it actually is a different ability.
What is the POW of a vomit swarm?
I don't know what Blightbringer's POW is. Nobody plays Brightblade.
It's not a Blightbringer.
It's not the Brightbringer.
Oh, it's not?
No.
Who vomits swarms?
Extra points for who vomit swarms.
Oh, it's the... God damn it.
It is Death Chill, by the way. I hope I
Death
said
Chill.
Death Chill. I didn't think I said Death
I
Chill.
think you said Death Chill.
It's not the Blightbringer. Who
No,
vomits
it's
swarms?
that... Oh, God damn it. Is it Moby? No, it's not.
I think it's safe to say neither of us have a clue.
It's the Sea King,
Yeah. It's,
Oh.
I knew it was a newer model.
and it's 13.
Yeah.
How many Fury does Sturm and Drang have?
Trick question? It's different when he's Sturm and Drang?
There is a Fury stat on the card.
Oh, okay.
4?
Nope,
No, it's 7, I think.
it's 7.
But I thought one
it
of
may
them had
change.
6 and
it
one
may
had
change,
7.
but the actual stat on the card is 7.
Yeah, but
Um,
like because Sturm and Drang, it's each turn it's either Sturm or
Right.
Drang.
Yeah.
Right? One of them has control of the body at a time.
Name the themes that Pharaoh take. So there are 2 themes that are specifically for Pharaoh. What are they called?
Specifically for
Yeah.
Pharaoh. Will Work for Food is one of them.
Will Work for Food is one.
All the piggies.
Thornfall Alliance.
Ah.
What was the other one?
I could have guessed that. I just figured it was all the piggies.
What is the speed of Blightedness Raptors?
Oh.
Jason.
Speed 9.
It is speed 9.
So good. Why are there
They
not
only
raptors
threat 21
everywhere?
inches.
Why are there not raptors everywhere? They're so good.
There are. Double Raptors Callus, too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Question
Until
number,
the dragon calf comes out.
Yeah.
question number 10. Unfortunately, I have not heard from Minty in a couple of
Oh,
weeks.
no.
I'm going to have to. I keep forgetting.
You're gonna have to
ping
hunt him
up early.
down.
I have to hunt him down. This is a 2-part question. What does Kingdom of Silence do, and who does it?
Kingdom of Silence.
Kingdom of Silence.
I don't know off the top of my head. I'm going to guess that it's the King of Nothing, maybe his feet, and it stops all casting orders.
You're wrong in that.
And something like
Stopped you
that.
there. No, you are right. It is the King of Nothing.
Yeah.
It allows him, whenever
It's
he
Arcana, I
destroys
should
a
have said.
war beast, he can cast a spell once per turn.
Oh, okay, cool.
Whenever- I think it's something along the lines whenever a war beast is destroyed.
And apparently models within 5 inches of him suffer -2 armor.
Yeah, it's just stuff.
Grimkin stuff.
Grimkin, and then you
hashtag
win.
Grimkin stuff.
And then you play a card and you win the game
Yeah, you just-
somehow.
yeah.
Hashtag Grimkin stuff.
Or you play
Somebody does
you
something
play a
cool,
bullshit
and then you
card
tell
that you
them to go
pull out
fuck
of some
themselves.
deck somewhere, and you're like, this
There's-
called it. This is the go fuck yourself Arcana.
There's 3 of them, and they tell you what they are at the beginning. If you can't keep track of it, that's your own damn fault.
I keep track of it. I just don't like the fact that I have to base my whole fucking turn and game around it.
How's that different than when you have to base around somebody's feet?
Because they have
Because-
the go fuck yourself.
Yeah,
card.
because I don't. The person doesn't have 3 feet.
Arcana are usually not as
Hey,
powerful as.
They still fuck
Jason?
with your game though.
Jason.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have Coven. Just live with it.
Yeah,
okay?
you
Yeah, you have nothing.
I
to complain
think
about.
I think playing Crix, you literally
You literally
don't have a leg to stand on.
Yeah, you're.
That's why I'm gonna switch factions after the Sioux.
Oh, what faction are you gonna play, Jason?
I gotta pick up some Troll Bloods.
Ooh, dang!
They look like fun.
My 4th love. I'm actually gonna pick up Grimkin for a little while.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Great. Thanks. That's awesome.
No problem. I've
That'll kill a lot of trolls.
Yeah. Kill tons of blood
Yeah.
and Crix. It'll be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is actually it for this evening. Let's talk a little bit about. We got to do a little upkeep. Jason, anything going on in the world of Fraser this evening?
Oh, there's all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. There's Fraser's battle reporter stuff is getting pretty full of stats. Like he's got it down by country now, like top people in the country. George is like number 5.
No, first of all, it's 11, and second of
11?
all, that's old test data. Do not go by that
George is
data.
I literally
11?
got the data from one tournament that George.
So
went
George
to.
is going to
It
the
does
WTC
literally say
next
that I'm
year.
6 better than Bubba, but
Yeah. George is apparently on the WTC team for next year.
apparently I'm just gonna. Yeah, I'm right.
I think we should send him just to watch the rest of his team go.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Well, I could always just go to the ATC and win my way onto the U.S. team.
Oh,
I have a U.S. passport. I could totally do that.
George. I think the word "try" was missing from that entire set.
Yeah.
You could try to go.
I don't have to, man. Have you seen the way they pick them in the U.S.?
Wow.
You can just go to the singles ATC tournament, which is like 8 guys, and all the really good guys are in the main tournament, and you can just like wander in there as long as some other really good player doesn't decide that he's going to stomp that tournament. You can just get on that team.
Well,
Sounds
I think you should.
entertaining.
I think you should do it. I think we should see how badly. I mean, how well you do.
Yeah.
I would actually have to prepare and stuff, so that's not going to happen.
All right. Well, there you go.
And
Give
then
me a year,
then you'd
maybe.
have to not get sick the entire time.
Oh
too.
my god!
Is there going to be a troll blood scrum tonight?
I don't know.
All right, everybody.
There hasn't been
May-
lately. So
Maybe or may not be a troll blood scrum.
check back. in
Fraser
50
showed up
minutes.
for like 10 seconds and left.
Yeah.
He as we affectionately he Menoth John does.
He's got,
I believe is what we
he's
call
got,
that.
he's got prime ministerial duties.
yeah.
Speaking of Menoth John is back.
Yeah.
It
Thank
turns
you,
it turns
Menoth
out
John.
if he doesn't podcast, he doesn't paint.
Yeah. He's got some
Turns
shit
out
to
he's a
paint.
podcaster at heart and can't stop himself.
Can't stop, won't stop.
What events do we have coming up in the area?
All kinds of stuff. There's a tournament this weekend in Kingston. Then we have another Ottawa Gatineau event coming up, like the
Are you
tournament
coming
series.
to Kingston?
I don't know yet.
Sounds
Okay.
like Ottawa's just going to steal all of Kingston's prize support. Is
Yeah.
Oh my God! Yeah. This will be the triumphant return of Marc Andre.
that- Woo! Marc Andre's back.
Yeah, we have to get him
Yay.
on the cast
I
and,
know.
and ask him what it's like to be a new player.
We'll have
That-
to come
that
up
should
with
be
a-
funny.
We do an episode about returning to the game.
Yeah,
after a
that actually would be
hiatus.
really
and
good.
how to
Yeah.
play 1,800 games in 1 week.
Yeah. Get
Yeah.
back in the saddle.
And then we're gonna have, I think, one more round of the out of the box, and then there's our little hiatus until January. We always take a little break around Christmas time.
Want to thank our sponsors. I want to thank the guys from Wizards Tower for keeping the lights on. It's almost that time of year that we go back around to them and beg them to do it again. Make sure you guys go to the Wizards Tower. Make sure that you spend some money there. They are our local gaming store, and
Go out Sunday, play with Connor. He's got the Feast
Somebody
of the Fallen
go
stuff.
play with Connor. Jesus. Give that poor boy some games.
look at the man. He was born
Yeah.
with a sad look on
Yeah.
his face.
Yeah.
Go play with Connor.
And if you don't play with him, he'll keep putting up those dad jokes, and I'm not sure I can take it.
Got to thank the guys from Wizards Tower, and I also want to send out a thanks to the guys at Muse on Minis. There's a lot of cool stuff coming out from Muse
Check
right
out
now.
their new houses. I've got them upstairs.
Is there? Oh,
Oh, you
Yeah.
managed to
Oh,
get
I'm
us
gonna
trying
go
to get-
look.
It
no,
took
no,
you
no,
how long
no.
to get the
I
houses?
He
bought,
paid for them.
I
Oh,
bought
you
the
paid
houses.
for them.
I bought the houses. He said he's like, I'll send you some. I can't give you any here because I need to sell these ones. I said, screw that noise. I'm buying these ones.
Cool.
And then you can
So-
send me more later.
Yeah. So me and Will are getting the next batch.
Yeah, exactly. Those
Yeah.
belong to us.
yeah.
And their new turn counters are really neat as well.
Yep.
That do the turns and the control
CPs?
points.
They're a little bit interesting to assemble. I've heard that's a
That
there's
was
mathematical
Yeah.
equations involved.
Yeah.
And
Dig out your calculator. It's
Yeah.
fine.
for a bunch of people that are really good at putting
Math
together
and
tiny
shit.
little things, math, and putting pins, I've never seen that many people struggle
this
to put
Hunters,
together
yeah.
one bunch of plastic.
Oh my
wires.
God.
You can pin this hunter,
has
but
so
you
many-
can't assemble a fucking turn
Sudabite
counter.
has so many dad jokes, but he doesn't have kids, so he's a faux pas.
Oh dear.
Oh
my God.
It hurts
God
me.
damn it, Connor.
It actually
I
hurts
need
me.
to go to Connor for me, my dear.
That was actually
Oh.
slightly arousing.
Oh, I don't want to know.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this evening. We will be returning next week. I
Yeah.
believe. Oh,
Yeah.
I may not. Be
Oh,
able
you
to come.
son
We'll
of a
see.
bitch.
You drunken fuck.
Drunk.
Are you not drunken
I
enough?
have not
Fuck.
been
Sober
drinking.
bastard.
There's some sort of food and wine thing I may have to go to.
A
but-
food and wine thing.
Bring the food and
your-
wine here.
Yes.
Remember
I will
work-
have a bottle of
I
wine.
work for
And food.
I work for a company now that I have to do those types of things.
Yes, bring the beer here.
We'll just do it here. It'll be
Yeah,
a
do
food
it
and wine
here.
show, and we'll
And
just
a
have
podcast.
people in fancy dresses marching through
Absolutely.
the podcast.
Yep.
I'll see what I can do.
If they want the beer, they got to come and get it.
All right, and that's it for this evening. But there's many cool things upcoming. Stay tuned.
Yep.
That's it. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Dice down. Moose Machine and This Death Clock Has 60 Minutes is a proud part of the Muse on Minis network. Podcasts go online every Thursday morning. You can watch the show live every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern on Twitch and keep in touch with us on our Facebook page. Just Google Moose Machine. If you can't find us, you're doing the internet wrong.
Oh, we're back. That was over. Really? What did you friggin' turn on your mic before you talk?
Turn on your mic before you tell us how bad your tartan pants are.
Tartan Pants is a Scotch ale, really. Scotch ales are usually pretty good.
It's just too much for me.
Oh, it's a strong beer.
It's super strong. Like woo! It tastes like kind of like an ashtray.
Yeah, there's some strong beers.
Have you
that
ever
don't
had
this one's okay. Old Tomorrow, Monty's Aged Ride Ale.
I'm not big on the whole like aging it in a rye barrel shit.
It's definitely it's got a certain taste to it that I think maybe might grow on you if you're forced to drink it.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever had, speaking of things that grow on you if you're forced to drink it, have you ever had Guinness Extra Stout?
The extra stout?
Yeah.
No.
It is really good. It's the stuff that was sent.
Stuff in that's the standard beer in the Caribbean.
Yeah, it was the stuff
okay.
that they send to the colonies, and it's got a really high alcohol content, so it doesn't go bad on the ship.
There's actually,
Nice.
and they actually had an official brewery in the Caribbean, and it's the one. So that brewery had the recipe, and they stopped making the extra stout.
Oh,
And except for that one brewery that still had the license to do it, so they just kept doing it. So you can still get it. You used to be able to get it up. Well, you probably still can get it up here, but it's actually shipped up from down south. For a while, that was being brewed in Carlton Place.
oh,
It
really?
was being
Shit.
brewed by the old what was the name of the brewery in Carlton
Hart?
Place? Hart Brewery.
Hart was doing extra.
They were
Stout.
doing that in Red Cap.
Oh, interesting.
For Jamaica, and then they got bought out by those people, and then it all went under.
Yeah.
Something like that.
It's too bad. I really enjoy extra stout. That's
That was
one of my
really fun,
favorites.
guys. Thank you
Yeah, that's
for
good.
everybody that joined us in the chat.
Yeah.
Who won the? Did you watch the chat to see who won the trivia?
Connor.
Oh, good for
You have just picked a random name out of a hat.
you. Just felt bad that we were making fun of Connor.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. We
Connor
love you.
needs all the wins he
We
can get.
love you, Connor.
I did pretty good.
Oh, you did.
I
Great.
could have actually told you it was Delise, but I thought it was funny. Just call her fucker because
Well, 'cause
after that game against, oh my god,
she
I did like 14 attacks.
point on the colossal where she touched you.
Yeah. Actually, the new version of that list has Iris 2 and 2 Kodiaks instead of the colossal.
Oh, nice. Oh, Iris would do a good job taking
Yeah.
care of some of that.
Iris 2 solves that problem, and
Unless Iris dies, which she does quite often.
well, I mean, I have so many Iron Fangs to put her behind. Like, you have to work really hard at killing her. Not that you can't. It's just you have to have something
you'd have
that
to-
ignores a lot
So
of
I just
line
have
of
to
sight.
kill all the Iron Fangs and then her,
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Which seems like something that
Yeah.
isn't that hard to do.
Oh, is that what you're doing?
No. It's
Oh, you're-
different. It's different.
Oh, okay. Because there's going to be zones of that, eh?
Yes, it's to match that particular zone.
Oh, it's to match the zone?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
that'll be
it's the
awesome.
paired zone for that.
Okay, cool.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to let you guys go.
Yep.
And thanks for joining us.